Hello and welcome back to Void Dreamer. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after having just saved this person that was in I don't want to call it derelict, but no, it was an exploding ship. And it seems that the way that it seems that there is something very suspicious about not only how they got there, why they're there, but basically there's a whole bunch of weird things that are going on with this mysterious new person that we're about to... Are we gonna meet them now or later? I forget. But anyways, yeah. No, yeah, actually, yeah, we are gonna meet them because we're about to go back into the med bay if I recall correctly. Yeah. So it seems that Zuberi has a very big heart, but will that come back and bite them in the butt? We don't know yet. We're gonna see. Or I suppose we're gonna see eventually. Anyways, but yeah, so what else happens? But yeah, the ship was stolen. Did they steal the ship or did something else happen? We don't know yet. Military weaponry was used in order to, I guess, board the ship. And there was a virus on the ship. So yeah, there's a whole lot of unknowns and weird, suspicious things surrounding this new person. So yeah, hopefully they make it so that we can interrogate them. But anyway, so yeah. Let's just dive into it and see what's gonna happen. As you step into the room again, you see that Bronca's attention is still firmly fixed on his patient. Lights are flashing inside the marten's pod as lasers slice and cauterize flesh. 30 minutes. You weren't even about to ask a question. You pause mid-step before you catch yourself and continue on to one of the empty pods. You sit up on the edge of it to watch. Until I've stabilized the internal bleeding and repaired organ damage. Damn, you've never seen a ship with a medbay capable of knitting such severe damage so quickly. Not outside a triage cruiser, anyway. Well, take your time. I am. No, I just mean... Never mind. There's no point in talking to Bronca right now. The bear's absolutely got just one thing on his mind, and that's repairing his patient. His drive is truly remarkable. You'd thought Bronca had missed his calling as a chef. Watching him just be as efficient, if not more so, with the medical systems, you were clearly wrong. For the moment at least, there's little that you can do but settle in and wait. It takes a fair more than the 30 promised minutes for Bronca to finish up. The first warning that you get comes as the bear heaves a tired sigh and steps back from the console, rubbing at his eyes. It takes you a moment before you realize that this is when he's supposed to be asleep. He got half a night and then found himself in an emergency situation. You'd be tired too. Hey, are you alright? Yeah, it takes a good amount of focus. Wir am Amnen. You allow yourself to slide off the pod that you're sitting on and make your way over to him. Your paw rises to pat his back, and he turns to offer you a little smile in turn. I will be fine, but it's kind of you to be concerned. Rough night? His smile slips for a moment, but he shakes his head nonetheless. Nothing too bad, and all the better for your company before it, I must say. You shrug and smile. It was your pleasure after all. The bear nods to the pod, eyes raking over it for a few moments. If anything, it's our guest that we should be worried about. You nod as you lean around the bear's bulky frame to look at the marten in the pod. His uniform has been stripped away, leaving him naked beneath the glass. It seems that the tissue and fur regeneration is working. It's impressive, on some level, to watch his skin and fur close up and regrow around over his wounds. Not for the tech itself, but for the efficiency in such a distant part of the galaxy. The Dreamer, as ever, is incredible. Looks like he's getting better to me. Physically, sure, I worry about his mind, his heart. Any particular reason? Bronca shakes his head as he steps to the side. He leans back against the wall and sighs. Because we know nothing of him. Not his fears and hopes, his passions or his wrath. When he comes to, alive and well, I don't know what sort of person will leave that pod. You purse your lips, ears folded back as you nod. There is a point that you'd not considered. I can patch his body perfectly, restore him to pristine health with what we have aboard. But if what has happened to him has broken his mind or his heart, my capacity is much more limited. And I'm the wrong person to help with either. I don't know. I think you'd be able to mend a broken heart or mind if you tried. He laughs, but the sound is small and quiet compared to his normal, boisterous sounds. Perhaps. Maybe. But hopefully we will not need such a thing. Hopefully he will be well. The bear's eyes drift down to the medical console again. His bioregulator might have been stripped, but the data that the system and I could piece together seems to be intact and genuine. Given what you learned over the A-Tripper, you don't feel quite so certain as Bronca seems to be. That's good, at least. Good enough to treat him. Anything that we should know? A citrus allergy. I have to be careful with any cooking that I do for him. I'm sure that's hardly a challenge for you. Another kind thing you to say to me. I could grow very used to this, you know. The bear sighs again and brushes a finger across his nose. I don't know what to tell him when he wakes up. I guess that's why you're here? Among other things, you nod and flash Bronca your best smile. Captain seems to think that my charms and good looks will be just what the doctor ordered, so to speak. I'll have to see you later to determine the appropriate dosage levels of rail that I must apply for patient health and well-being. You chuckle, and it's nice to see the bear smiling right along with you. Cheesy joke, but at least he looks more at ease now. How long do you think the regeneration will take now? Once more, Bronco glances down at the console. Just a minute more or so. I'll administer a stimulant to counteract his anesthesia, and he should be up and about shortly after. You nod and pause as you look down at the pod, just in case. Any chance of him breaking out of here if we need to keep him confined? Bronco looks confused at the suggestion, but he shakes his head nonetheless. No. If he tried, I could always just put him under again. Stims might mean it takes a moment, but he'd go down before he could break out. I'm positive. Good to know. It is? He still looks confused, and so much the better. Zuberi obviously wanted to keep his concerns from most of the crew for now. We don't know anything about him save for a whole lot of suspicious behavior. Better safe than sorry, right? At that, the bear can do little more than nod. I suppose that makes sense. It just feels wrong to me. You think like a doctor. You're not supposed to see threats in every shadow, and that's a good thing. Before Bronca can respond, the console pings for attention. It seems the tissue and fur regeneration is complete. Well, we'll just have to wait and see if I should be worried. Looks like the pods gowned him too, so he won't be naked. Should I administer the stims? You hesitate, but this is what Zuberi asked you to stick around for. To greet this Anwell when he comes to. Yeah, I guess. May as well get this out of the way. See what we can get out of him. Bronco was reaching for the controls as you said that, and his paws pauses a couple of inches from the console. I am not waking him up for major surgery just so that you can interrogate him on the captain's behalf. Am I? No, that's not it. I just mean that there are questions that need answers and... No. The bear's tone is surprisingly firm, and it takes a moment for you to realize that this is Bronca, who is now glaring daggers at you. Post-ascension medical technology might ensure a quick recovery from a near-death experience, but his mind and body both need time to adjust to what he's been through. He needs rest, not to have his memories of what happened turned over. I sit down, Brom. Calm, okay? I'm not gonna go about strapping him to a torture device to get the truth out of him. He sighs. I know. Such things aren't your nature. Maybe Kalia's. He actually smirks at that. Maybe yes, but this is not something that I will joke about real. He will need rest, recovery while his body adjusts to the new tissue. He will be exhausted, in pain, sore for protracted periods while the regeneration takes. Stressful questions will not help him. If you must, keep the questions minimal, as little stress as you can put him under, for at least a day. The doctor's orders. You hold up your paws and nod. Zuberi probably wanted more information, but there's only going to be so far that you're willing to push Brom. And honestly, you're not too sure Zuberi would fight the bear on this one. I'll keep it light, I promise. For a moment, Bromka is silent. He watches your face as if looking for any signs of deception. You expect that he'll be disappointed, but you weren't really ready for the bear's intensity. The moment passes though, and Bromka nods in satisfaction. Very well, I'll administer the stims now. You nod and step back to allow the bear to work. He lowers that hovering pad and taps delicately at the controls. Within the pod, the lights dim slightly. You watch as a mechanical arm extends from the top of the pod to press against the side of the marten's neck. A moment later, the marten jerks. The arms retract as Bromka nods to himself. Now we wait. The dose that I gave him should allow him to wake gently. You nod again, eyes on the marten. He certainly still looks like he's sleeping, though there is a new rapid eye movement going on behind those eyelids. Whatever was in those stims are doing their job. It takes roughly a minute before he begins to shift, groaning and lifting a paw along his body to rub at his face. His eyes flutter open, though they don't seem to be focused on anything. You glance over at Bromka. The bear's watching the marten's vitals, not his face. Can he hear us? Bromka just points at the spot on the console. That button there. You smile and nod your thanks as you reach down to the button. You press it and hear a click. Hello. Please don't be afraid. You're in no danger. To be fair, you're not sure if you're lying. Kalia probably wouldn't have many kind things to say about it. It's also clear that he doesn't necessarily believe it himself. His unfocused eyes begin to dart about, looking this way and that. His arms lift only to bump against the clear material of the pod's upper half. It's okay, calm down. You're in a medical pod. You were badly hurt when we found you. One of the marten's paws clutch at his left side of his neck. A moment later, as panic takes a momentary hold on him, he seems to calm slightly a moment later, falling slack against within the pod. He won't be able to reply, not for a little longer. You glance up at Bromka and nod. Better let the marten know. Don't try to talk. You're still recovering from the effects of the med pod. Just give it a moment and relax. The marten's eyes seem to focus in for a moment, almost drifting past you before they lock back down a moment later. You try a little smile and the marten nods back to you. Well, that's progress. My name's Rael. This is Bromka. He's the doctor who put you back together. The marten's eyes roll back up to bring Bromka into view, and you look up in time to see the bear smile and offer a tentative little wave. He too receives a nod of thanks from the marten. But there's not a lot that you're going to be able to get out of him if he's not able to or willing to talk. Are you starting to feel better? Recovering well? Feeling any pain? The marten shakes his head, but to what part of the question you're not sure. Dealing with a mute person wasn't something that you'd intended to do today, but it could just be like Bromka said, and he needs a millisec. You're about to speak again, but you see the marten's muzzle open. It twists, trying to form words as Bromka leans over to press the comms button. Please, don't try to speak. Let until you're ready. How he's meant to know when he's ready without trying isn't something that you're about to try and determine on the doctor's behalf. The marten nods anyway and closes his muzzle. You can see his cheeks bulge as he works his tongue around the inside of his mouth before he licks his lips and tries again. And well. You and Bromka exchange a quick glance. That's definitely the name registered to his bioregulator. That's your name, Anwell? Again, the marten nods, and he closes his eyes as he sighs. The sound turns into a racking cough that draws a wince from Bromka. As the sounds fade, however, you can see that Anwell's eyes are sharpening further. He takes a long, slow breath and lets it out in a hiss. Anwell. Clan Henyon. Trade Coalition pilot. Finally, now we're getting somewhere. The marten's voice is still husky and coarse, but that might just take some more time to soften. Well, my name is Rael, and this is Bromka. Nice to meet you, Anwell. How are you feeling? Like I tried breathing fire. Bromka leans in a little closer. Your lung tissue was badly affected by the fumes filling your ship. You might be short of breath for a few days longer. The mention of a ship causes Anwell's eyes to widen considerably. His head lifts as he presses a paw to the transparent barrier. My ship? What happened? You and Branka exchange another quick look. You'd have thought that he would have known what happened. Now that you think of it, just because his ship was stolen doesn't mean that he stole it. The stripped bioregulator still implies that he is not likely to be on the level. You suppose that he could just be an unlucky pilot whose ship was jacked, and he was locked in a closet somewhere before the jackers abandoned it. He could be, but that doesn't mean that you think he is. We were kind of hoping that you could tell us. He slumps back into the pod with a sigh. Exhaustion, relief, pain. You can't quite tell. I was attacked? I don't know who. Why? Boarded, shot me, left me for dead. His breathing is becoming more labored. Bromka keys the comm unit off. We can't keep him talking. He needs time to mend. Pretty sure he's going to have questions of his own, Brom. They'll have to wait. He needs rest. You both turn back to the Marten as he looks between you. You realize now that he's been watching you talk, unable to hear a word that you've been saying. What are you talking about? You reach down and press the comm button again. Doctor here thinks that you're not strong enough to talk. That true? Branka rolls his eyes, but you shrug back at him. It's true after a fashion. And hey, if the Marten consents to the conversation, then all Branka can do is protest. Or at least that's the way that the law works. Is that true this far past the French too? Are there any laws out here? Don't know. Can always just stop if I gotta. Good enough for me. Branka rolls his eyes again. Well, when you need your lungs patched again because you tore a hole, I hope that you won't mind me saying that how I warned you. You smirk, and it's gratifying to see the Marten do much the same. Maybe he really is recovering well from everything. Thanks for the worry, Doctor. And sorry about your supplies. Hope I didn't put you out. Not at all. Bromka actually smiles at that, his voice turning more gentle than it had been. Are you experiencing any pain, discomfort? The Marten shakes his head, then pauses for a moment. Wouldn't mind out of this pod, if that's okay. Your paw slips down to your side to pat your holstered blaster. You probably don't need to pull the pistol, but it's reassuring to know that it's there. Bromka glances your way, frowning until you give him a little nod. Zuberio will want to know that he's awake, if Oba hasn't already let him know. Sure, just lay back and relax, and the pod will be open in just a moment. He sounds distracted all of a sudden, like something seems wrong, but he doesn't want to discuss it. The bear turns back to his controls as the Marten does exactly as he's told. You watch as the pod chimes once under Bromka's efforts, and the bear nods a moment later. No detected pathogens. No hazardous material. Scanner's not picking up any weaponized cyberware. You're good to come out. The Marten nods as a clear part of his pod pops up. Air escapes from inside, clearly as a higher pressure than the infirmary. It's tinged with that painfully clean smell that all medbays seem to have. As the top part of the pod retracts into the bottom, the Marten slowly sits up. He stretches his arms up over his head, and you hear him sigh quietly as he closes his eyes. That's better. Thank you, Doctor. Bromka is fine, please. No need to be so formal. You perk an ear towards the bear as Annwell's eyes open again to fix on him. Interesting. He asks you to drop the honorific, but insists on it here. Well, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you, so thank you. Actually, you have Rail to thank for that. He's the one who boarded your ship and recovered you before it blew. Both of the Marten's eyebrows lift as he looks back your way. He seems stunned and you shrug. Scans caught your life signs ratings. We weren't just gonna leave you over there. Annwell smiles at that, relaxing again as he pulls his legs up from beneath him to dangle them off the edge of the pod. Well, I definitely owe you my life, Captain. Thank you. Bromka snorts as you wince and shake your head. No, Zuberi wouldn't be happy if you didn't disabuse him of that right away. Oh, no. I'm not the captain. I'm just the one who went over to get you. The captain would have gone, but I was just a bit more expendable. You are not. He's just more important. Same thing in the end, isn't it? You shrug again as a marten smiles all the more warmly. Well, anyway, you came to me. I am very grateful. I'd very much like to speak to your captain as soon as I can, to thank him as well. You look to Bromka. The doctor's got the final word on whether or not Anwell is ready to be moved. As long as you take it easy and then find a nice, quiet, comfortable spot to crash for a little while, yes, I think he'd like to meet you too. Oba, would you please let the captain know that we'll be on our way up shortly?
Only because you asked so nicely.
You nod and turn back to Anwell just in time to catch the marten's frown. He's looking down again, as if he was just staring up at the ceiling and the emitters that projected Oba's voice. A simulant?
Careful.
Oba's more than a simulant. She's part of the crew. Oh, interesting. Don't see that a lot. You'll get used to her. Don't worry. She's pretty friendly once you get to know her.
He always knows just what to say.
The marten tries a smile as he nods towards the ceiling. Well, it's nice to meet you too, Oba.
Oh, we're starting a trend now. I approve of this.
You shake your head and smile to try and set the marten at ease. Do you need any help getting down? The marten rubs at his legs for a moment before he shakes his head. No, I think I got it, thanks. He slides forward until his feet, wrapped in the same material as the gown, hits the deck. Almost immediately, he sags under his own weight, prompting Bromka to catch him before he can tumble further. Okay, got legs. I got legs. Are you? Fine, just, wasn't ready. Head spun. You reach out to offer Anwell your paw, and the marten gingerly takes it. Bromka relaxes off of him, letting the marten take more of his weight on his own feet. Well, and on you. He does straighten up again to move later, sighing as he works his legs a little to get some motion into them. A paw comes up to swipe his braids back and over his shoulder. I think I'm okay now. You don't mind helping a little, do you, Rail? Not at all. Not if you think you're okay, and if the doctor here gives you the go-ahead, of course. Both you and Anwell look up at Bromka, but the bear just gives a single nod. Go ahead. I have to finish up and log the med data with the main core anyway. His eyes narrow and he fixes Anwell with a sharp stare. But if you experience any pain or disorientation, please come back here immediately and ask Oba to call for me. Anything like that could be complications from the nano reconstruction. I will, I promise. And thank you, again, for saving my life. It was my pleasure, Anwell. Just don't go risking it again today, alright? The marten chuckles at that, though he gives a quick, quiet cough that causes Bromka to frown again. I promise to do my best on that front too. Alright, keep an eye on him, Rail. You were definitely already going to do that, but perhaps not for the same reason Bromka might have thought. Will do. Anwell, you're sure you're okay? Okay enough. I need to see the ship. If she's okay, maybe I can. We'll worry about that when we get to the bridge. The last thing that you want to tell him is that the ship is doomed. For all you know, the overload could have finally come on and blown it apart. Anwell remains silent as you walk him out of the infirmary. He does look impressed, at least, as you make your way towards the bridge. He bites his tongue the whole time, but you catch him drinking in every detail. It's not exactly a surprise, after all. A-trippers aren't exactly known for being advanced or particularly reliable craft. Stepping onto the Dreamer from that probably feels like stepping into a sci-fi hollow. It's not until you almost reach the bridge that he sighs and waves for you to stop. You do so and he leans against the wall as he coughs again. Sorry. Don't be. Take your time. He nods slowly as he looks up at you. The marten's only a little shorter than you, and he gives you a soft little smile. And again, thanks. You're being very kind. You're actually incredibly suspicious of the marten, but saying that would lose you whatever little goodwill you've already earned from him. Don't know that I'm doing anything all that special. You saved my life. I'd call that special. Seemed the thing to do. Seriously, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe not to you. To me, it's everything. I promise. He sighs again, slumping a bit harder against the wall. You step in towards him, helping to hold him up as you slide an arm around his middle. Easy there. I'm fine, just weak. Weaker than I thought I'd be. That medpod's got a kick to it. Wouldn't know. Thank the stars. You alright? Anwell nods and leans his head back against the cool metal of the bulkhead. I will be. If that doctor of yours is as good as your tech, I'm not seen a medbay like that in, well, actually not a long time. Come to think of it. Oh, that's new information that begs follow-up. Tech like you've seen on the Dreamer isn't just found on any old bold job starship. It's not even common on the mid-ren, unless you're in the wealthier zones of affluent systems. Any medical conditions that I should warn Bronca about? No, nothing like that. Fit as a ferret. Except for that citrus allergy, but you guess that doesn't count. So you hang around med units for the fine dining? That sparks a laugh out of Anwell that quickly dissolves into hacked coughs. You wince at the rough sound. Fine company, more like. My sister, Sheffrey, was a medical researcher. I've seen some of the finest medical facilities in the galaxy thanks to her. And the food, incidentally, is worse the more upmarket you go. You find that hard to believe, but hey, everyone's tastes are different. Well, we'll see if our commissary can break the trend. You sure you don't need to sit? We could head in if you like. Anwell shakes his head, but he smiles all the wider up at you as he straightens up. Your arms slip down his back and away from him. No need to sit, but thank you for offering. I think that I'm ready to go now. His smile fades as he takes a long, slow breath. I need to see her with my own eyes. He seems unusually attached to the A-Tripper that he stole, or that got stolen with him on board. You still really don't know what to think. Maybe his reactions on the bridge will tell you more. Alright, if you're sure. Ready? The marten nods as you move towards the door. It opens automatically for you. Oba's clearly on her game today. You watch as Anwell's eyes widen. He looks around the bridge just as everyone in the room turns towards him. Zuberi, Kalia, Miz, and Tolmany all watch him closely, and his eyes do catch briefly on Tolmany before they continue on. You do notice Sam's conspicuous absence as you lead Anwell onto the bridge. Miz and Tolmany look thoroughly curious. Kalia's stare is cold, but that's hardly surprising. Zuberi, however, is wearing a warm smile as he stands from his chair and nods to Anwell. Zuberi. Anwell, Clan Henyon, Trade Coalition pilot, 3rd grade. I trust I have you to thank for saving my life? Zuberi chuckles as he waves towards you. Rail deserves the credit far more than I do. I really don't. I've already expressed my gratitude towards him, and I look forward to the chance to do more at a later time. Oh, lucky Rail. Zuberi shoots Miz a quick look before turning his attention back to Anwell. Are you sure that you should be moving around so soon? Your doctor was kind enough to allow me to get up and out of the pod. I need to see my ship, if I may, please. Zuberi nods as he sits back down on his command chair. He waves Anwell forward and you guide the marten over until he can brace himself against Zuberi's chair. Should be coming alongside soon. Miz? If you hold course, we'll be in visual range in a minute or so. How bad is it? You wince. You've seen just how bad it was over there. Words might not do it justice to what you just saw over there, but even if they did, it's probably words that Anwell doesn't want or need right now. A look at Zuberi shows the wolf is also struggling to find the right words. Can you tell us what happened? We're a bit hazy on the details. The marten seems to shrink into himself, gaze dropping to the deck. I must look insane, flying out this far, I was chased here by pirates. They kept tracking my warp lines and following right on my tail. I thought that I could lose them in wild space. I was wrong. That's a lie. The flight logs that you saw proved that without a doubt. The Martin's course was laid in a straight out of Rhizoma. His trip to the fringe was deliberate and, no matter what else happened, he just lied about it. They caught up and disabled your ship. And then boarded, looking for valuables, emptied the bay and left me for dead. Another lie. You know it didn't pick up anything from but the reactor fuel. Anuel's not doing himself any favors here. Sounds like pirates, all right. You can see in Zuberi's face that the wolf is not buying it. Not with what you already told him. Coming up alongside the ship now. You look up into the viewport on the starboard side just as Anuel does, and you grimace as you hear his gasp. And for good reason, the ship is wrecked. Which is not to say that it's a field of rapidly explosive disassembled starship. The bulk of the A-Tripper actually seems to be somewhat intact. It takes you a moment to see what's wrong with the ship. The thruster bank that seems to have been the cause of all the problems has separated from the ship. It's been sheared off completely. There's still blast damage, but not nearly as much as you'd have expected. The bulk of the ship has been saved, for lack of better words. It's still absolutely trashed. The moment that we hit effective weapon range, I order that your overloading drive be targeted. You blink in surprise and glance at Kalia. She's still looking distinctively cold in Anuel's direction. You hope that she wasn't issuing orders to fire before you were off the ship. As the A-Tripper rotates slowly to the space before you, you can see that a whole chunk of the ship's center has been blasted off as well. The shots disconnected the thruster bank. Unfortunately, inertia took over and the ship impacted the drive, blew a hole in the side. Sorry. She doesn't sound sorry. You glance over at Anuel to see the Marten with his jaw dropped. His eyes are wide, ears twitching as he looks at the wrecked ship. No. There wasn't going to be a way to save the ship. Not once the overload kicked in. I'm sorry. At least Zuberi sounds like he means it. The Marten shakes his head as his fingers squeeze down on Zuberi's chair. It is. Can anything be salvaged? Is there? You glance over at Miz, just as Zuberi does, and the cheetah shakes his head. The blast hollowed the core. Your reactor's gone. Your computer core is gone. Oba?
I mean, it's an A-Tripper. It was scrapped straight off of the assembly line.
Oba!
What? It's true.
Zuberi's glaring at the ceiling, but Anuel doesn't seem to be perturbed by the simulant's rudeness.
Your warp core has cracked and has suffered critical failure. Life support is depleted. 3 sublight thruster banks are melted. You know what happened to the 4th? 84% of your ship is exposed to vacuum. 12% is filled with lethal levels of fumes from the cracked warp core's ruptured coolant lines. 4% is perfectly breathable. How about that? Not all bad news, I suppose.
The Marten slumps against the chair as you wince. That's one hell of a damage report. I'm sorry to say that we don't have anything aboard that can patch that much damage. And Signer keeps all their parts proprietary, so we probably don't have any replacements. That too. I just... Take your time, it's alright. You watch as Anuel shakes his head, still just staring at the wreckage of the A-Tripper. If you can give coordinates for home, we might be able to help get you to the station nearby. That was my home. The shock might be real, but the emotional attachment has to be an affection. The captain winces, but you know that this is also an affection. He's got to pretend that he doesn't see the lie. The Marten seems to pull himself together and take a ragged breath. His eyes never leave the wreck. What's going to happen to me?
Kalia had some good ideas.
That's enough, Oba. Oba falls silent immediately, but you catch the hint of a smile touch Kalia's muzzle for a moment. Just for a moment. Nothing's going to happen to you. Not if you don't want it to. Like I said, we might be able to get you, if not home, then at least back to Tordera. Tordera? Why? The captain frowns as he looks up at Anuel. You don't want to go back to the Trade Coalition? Anwell gasps for a moment before he sags. Oh, of course. No, I'm not an employee. I'm just on contract from them. His expression falls. And now without a ship, I'll be in it if I live long enough to get Corps Award. You glance over at Zuberi. He, by contrast, is looking at Kalia. The vixen shakes her head. No. Cal? Absolutely not. Oh, I do so ever love this part. I didn't send Rail over there for nothing. No, you did it to flaunt your moral superiority once again. Excuse me, should I, leave you to deliberate or... No, it's fine. The fuck it is? The wolf growls under his breath. Clearly it isn't fine. Oba, would you show Anwell to quarters, please? The bridge goes silent as Zuberi lifts his head.
It would be my pleasure.
The captain frowns. The airlocks don't count.
Then it would be a simulated pleasure and a legitimate pain in my virtual ass. Come along then, you stray. Follow the blinking lights and the disciplined tones of my voice.
The bridge door slides open and Anwell turns towards it for a moment. He hesitates as he turns back again. Am I a prisoner? Yes. Zuberi's eyes narrow at her before he looks back to Anwell. I don't know what you are. I don't know who you are. So right now, in the interest of the safety of myself and my crew, you'll be confined to quarters. If you need anything, you let Oba know. We should still be in Galnet range. Any messages you want to send will be subject to full check before they transmit. Again, for the safety of me and mine. If that's unreasonable and you think that it makes you a prisoner, I'm sorry. No, it's not unreasonable. I will of course comply with any demands that you might have. I don't mean to put you out any more than I already have. The wolf nods as he waves towards the door. Rail, help him on his way, and then report back to the bridge. Yes, sir. Anwell, can you walk? The marten doesn't reply. He nods, leaning back off of Zuberi's chair and into your grasp. You turn to help him around, though his gaze lingers for a moment on the still turning wreckage of the A-Tripper. I'm sorry. What was that? Nothing. Don't worry. You frown, but nod as you help ease the marten off of the bridge again. The trip down the corridor is faster this time, with the corridor lights leading you to not your quarters but to one of the empty rooms. Its door opens quickly as you approach, and within a moment you're inside. The door remains open for you, and you settle Anwell down slowly on top of the room's sleep pad. There you go. He sighs as he leans back for a moment. Before catching and bracing himself better, he looks up at you, his expression sad and his eyes lilid. This is all wrong. This is all so wrong. Nothing about a pirate attack's right. It's also not your fault. Except that it very well could have been his fault. Maybe he just stole from the wrong people. Kind of you to say. Thank you. Do you need anything? Food? Water? Anwell shakes his head and he looks down at the sleep pad again. You know, Bromka was saying that you'll need rest. Maybe a nap would help, for whatever my not medical opinion is worth. Well, you're the only one over here who's not treating me like a potential threat. So right now, I'd say that it's worth a lot. You bite your tongue. You're definitely not sure about this marten, but you're also not ruled out that he could be a threat. Maybe you're just better at covering it. The captain's good people, Anwell. He just needs to figure out this situation before he acts. I know. Smarter than I was, getting into this mess. He reaches up to scratch at the back of his neck as he sighs. I think I could try sleeping, if that'll help anyway. You nod and take a step back. Good, maybe Bronca won't be angry at you for interrogating him when he should be sleeping. Good idea. If you need anything, just let Oba know. She'll get it done, or get one of us to get it done. Whatever you need.
Within reason.
The marten jumps at the sound of her voice and looks up again. His eyes are wide, legs twitching. You'll get used to it. She's wired in everywhere. But she's not always spying on you, I promise. You know you don't believe that, but the important thing is that Anuel does. Fortunately, he seems to. If you say so. Thank you, Rael. Thanks. Oba. You try to smile of your own as you back to the door. Get some rest. I won't be far. Good. And, You perk an ear as the marten slowly lays down on its side. Thanks again for rescuing me. If circumstances weren't so suspicious, you might feel flattered. You're welcome. Rest well. He nods and closes his eyes. That's your cue to head out to the corridor now. What a day, and it's only just started. You turn and start back towards the bridge when there is a click above you.
He seems nice.
You don't trust him any more than Zuberi does.
Of course not.
But you wouldn't have said anything if you didn't have something on your mind. What is it?
You're too observant for your own good, Stray.
Damn. You'd hope that with Anuel being the new Stray, Oba might start using your name. Maybe next time.
I just wanted to make sure that you were appropriately wary.
Worried for my well-being, are you?
As much as a whole crew, Stray. As much as a whole crew.
You smile as you reach the bridge door. Nice that Oba wanted to take the time to check on you two. The door slides open before you a moment later. The crew are all silent as you step back onto the bridge, and you frown immediately. Not a single one of them is saying a word. This is all the more impressive because Sam has returned, and so has Bromka. Everyone except Anuel is present and accounted for. Feel like I've walked into a funeral. Quite possibly all of ours, as so it happens. You frown as you fold your arms and look to Zuberi. It's his ship. He's the one who lays down the law. As he rotates in his chair, to face you, however, he doesn't look even remotely pleased. Did he say anything else? Just that he's happy to have been saved, that this is all wrong and that he's going to get some sleep. Good. The bear at least relaxes slightly as you say that. Just slightly. That just leaves the rest of the crew. So, what's going on now? That, Rael, is what we're about to discuss. Oh, good. Just what you were hoping to have, another in-depth conversation with the whole crew, right after yesterday's one. Seems that we found ourselves in a sticky situation here. There is a lot of unknowns around this Anuel, and I don't really know what to make of him, not by myself. This ship's not a democracy. Final decision's mine, but I want to know where everyone stands before I make a call. Space him. Kalia, come on. No, I'm saying it. No one else wants to say it, but you all should at least be thinking it. I'll put the ugly option on the table. She's not wrong. That's a damn ugly option. But given what you saw in those data logs, some caution would definitely be advised. And I am taking it right off again. We are not in the business of cold-blooded murder on this ship. Sorry, Z, but I gotta say that I think Kalia's got the right of it. Those blast points on the hull, that's mil-spec. Scanner readings did confirm military-grade weapon discharge, right before the drive bank blew. And the Dreamer can stand up to that better than some bolt-job A-Tripper could. You all know that. You're certainly confident of that much, but looking around at the more reserved expressions on the faces of the rest of the crew, maybe you should measure that. Just a lot of unknowns. Don't know if spacing him's a good idea, but getting him off of the ship on the Thundersnap's not a bad one. I agree. It would be bad enough that there are pirates in the immediate vicinity, but they were obviously hunting that marten. Who is to say that they won't come for us in turn? Tolmany raises her paw and every pair of eyes on the bridge turns towards her.
Do we know if this Anuel is guilty of any crimes? Poor conduct?
You glance back in time to catch the shake of Zuberi's head. Galnet feeds spotty, but I didn't see bounties when I ran a search while Rael was in the infirmary. Kalia's frowning now, ears perked and alert. You ran his name? On an open channel? Yes, dear. I am a complete moron who's never done this before, and I need you to hold my hand so that I don't piss myself at the first sign of trouble. Kalia's glare builds in intensity, like an immediate supernova. I ran general queries by genotag, several different species. Give me a little credit for once, please. The vixen doesn't look happy, and she also doesn't say another word. Tolmeny, however, nods in satisfaction.
I am content to retain this anvil until further data presents itself. It would not do to murder him in cold blood.
Thank you, Tolmeny.
Until such time as he is proven to be deserving, at which point we are ideally positioned to engage whatever countermeasures may be required.
Branka sighs in response as Zuberi turns towards him. I don't even need to ask where you stand. You do not. The captain nods as he turns towards you once more. You have a feeling that you know where this is going. And what about you? What about me? I shouldn't get a vote. I'm not sure that I've been here long enough to deserve one. There are no votes here, Rail. Just topics of discussion, points of view for me to consider, and I'd like to hear yours. After all, you went over there to bring him back. After risking your life like that, I'd like to hear what you have to say all the more. Sure, no pressure. So, what do you think? So, write it on the comments what you would do. Honestly, I just don't know. Don't know enough to make a call. Better safe than sorry. We should ditch him. I think we shouldn't kick him off just yet. That's actually what I'm gonna pick. Throwing him off the ship won't change anything. Someone comes across us and thinks that he's aboard. I don't think telling them that we ditched him will help our cause. I say that we keep him aboard, figure out what happened, best case scenario, we've saved a life. Kalia groans and shakes her head as Zuberi smiles. And the worst case scenario is disastrous. We've got so little faith in us. You've got so little faith in us, don't you? The vixen clamps her muzzle shut with an exasperated sigh. Miz and Sam both frown at themselves in response to your answer. Besides, if the logs are right and there's danger here, Enwell could be the most useful person to have aboard in dealing with it. And if he tries to jack the ship out from under you, Kalia and Oba would race to see which one of them could kill Enwell first. Zuberi nods to himself and his smile slips away. Thanks for the simple, clear answer, Rail. I really appreciate it. Sure, anytime. Zuberi rubs at his chin as Kalia eyes him and stands up. Don't you do it. This is my ship. I do as I please. This is your ship and our lives. Those words light a fire in the captain's eyes. He's up and out of his chair in an instant, fists clenched at his sides. Kalia doesn't react and Zuberi's voice is ice cold. You know better. Do I? You brought Rail aboard? No offense, Rail. Little offense taken, thanks. How many times are you going to throw dice with our lives, Zuberi? Your hackles bristle. Somehow you doubt that she'd be quite so brazen about dragging your name if you'd not come clean with the whole crew about your past. Zuberi, however, still looks exactly as incensed as before. I evaluated the risks, and right now, I'm evaluating more than you think, so right now, I want you to evaluate this. The next time that you tell me that I don't care about my crew is the time that you leave it. Is that understood? Kalia's gritting her teeth as her own hackles bristle. She's definitely fired up, and only part of that is probably due to her waking up early. With protest. Good enough. Now sit your ass down and shut up a minute. You see Kalia's eyes blaze, and a thick snarl slips past her muzzle before she does as she's ordered. You've seen Zuberi firm, but this is the first time that you've ever seen him truly angry. Seems that's enough to put a spot of fear in even Kalia. Anwell stays. Unbelievable. For now, until I figure out just what the fuck's happening, he stays. Is that understood? Everyone on the bridge nods except Kalia. She just glares absolute daggers at Zuberi. Question. Go? Does that mean that this Enwell counts as crew? No. You blink. There's clearly a distinction here that you're not getting. If he was crew, it means that I've invited him to stay aboard my ship. I'd expect him to do a job, earn his keep. I'd expect you all to treat him with the same respect that you extend each other. Enwell is not that. I don't know what he is, but until I do, I don't expect anyone to go out of their way to show him any deference. That's not an invitation to treat him like shit. I catch a whiff of abuse from anyone and you answer to me. We don't know what's going on. We don't know anything about him, not really. So for now, the course is plotted, cautious, ears and eyes open. I can do that. Ditto. Of course. Tolmany nods. Sure. Zuberi turns back to you once again. I want to talk to you privately, Rael, with Kalia. Everyone else, you're dismissed for the moment. Obo will let you know what's happening shortly. Give us the bridge, please. The dismissal is met eagerly by the rest of the crew. Sam and Miz in particular scramble to be the first ones out the door. Branka takes a little longer, nodding to Zuberi. He pauses a moment as he passes you by to pat your shoulder. Thanks. For what? Showing a little compassion. I appreciate it. Sure, not a problem. His eyes sparkle as he smiles wider, and then he follows Sam and Miz out. Tolmany is the last to leave, slowly unplugging herself from her systems before she passes silently by. Once the clicking of the metal feet against the deck fades behind the closed bridge door, Kalia folds her arms. Get to it? Cal, just shut up. Just for a second, please. Fuck you, no. This is the sort of vulgarity that you've expected from Sam, not Kalia. The anger's on point, at least. That's all Kalia. You do this and I'm out, off the crew. What, again? I'm not doing this song and dance routine with you anymore. Either you listen to me or I walk. Cal? Don't you call me Cal. I'm sick to death of you disregarding what I have to say. Kalia, I don't... Nothing about this makes any sense, and here you are giving this random element a room, when he could be party to stars alone know what. Kalia! The shout jolts you physically, and even Kalia jumps back from him at the force behind it. She swallows, straightens back up again, and tilts her head up. What? I do not trust him. The irritation melts off of her face in an instant. What? I said that I don't trust him. Of course I don't trust him. No one flies fringe space if they're not running from something. Kalia is silent now. It's like she's processing what she's hearing, but she is still looking distinctly displeased. You heard what Sam said. Those were mil-spec weapons that blasted that A-tripper. You think pirates have that sort of firepower? They don't? Kalia rolls her eyes and snorts. If you think that this ship takes a lot of maintenance, try serving aboard an ASF vessel. Hardware like that, running on the fringe, pirates don't have the toolers to run it for long. Just makes the mystery that much more mysterious, and you know how much I hate a mystery. At this point, you think that you could guess too. And it's more than that. It's the state of the ship was left in before we got there. Yeah, she was boarded. It's more than that. Yeah, they boarded her hard. Zuberi sighs as he looks your way. You find yourself stiffening to attention under his gaze. You don't go to all of that trouble boarding a ship, not unless you're looking for something specific. If there was something in the cargo hold, I sure didn't see it. Rail got access to the command console on the bridge. There was a virus in their core, forcing the overload. The Vixen's gaze sharpens. Doesn't make sense. I said that. And so did I. If that was all, that'd be enough. But, Rail? Kalia perks an eyebrow. She turns your way. At least her stare is less severe when pointed at you, which is funny, not that you think about it. Zuberi's sure in it for later. I accessed the data logs while I was there. Bold and extremely illegal. We won't tell if you don't, Rail. The logs say that even though she was boarded, the pirates didn't take anything. Nothing out of the bay. They came aboard, shot Anuel, guessing while he fled to the bridge, wrecked the place and left. Not before putting the virus into the system. This is meant to make me feel better? This is meant to give you an impression of how I'm thinking right now, which is to say that I'm thinking like you. Suspicious, cautious, concerned. Well, it's about damn time. She doesn't look too pleased, to be fair, but when does she ever? So then, Captain, What's our course to be, really? You perk an ear to look at Zuberi's way. He does glance at you for a second. I think we pull rail. You frown, but Kaylee is nodding along. Finally, a good call. I'm sorry? Maybe we drop the gal stand for a second? When you say pull me, I mean from your duties. You won't be locked into first shift anymore. The whole crew's already assigned. They're busy. I need them all on their own respective stations, doing what they're doing. You're a wild card, a new element who's not slotted in yet. And you want me to... what? Cub sit Anwell? I think you've got the temperament for it. Haha, funny. Not cup sitting, but Anwell's going to eventually get sick and tired of being cooped up in his quarters all the time. We'll have to let him out, integrate him into the ship's functionality. Give him just enough edge to slice himself. You frown. You want to bait him into doing something against the crew? The ship? If he's on the level, then there's elements here in play that we don't understand. If he's not, he's going to make a move, and giving him the chance to do it where we can see it, that gives us the best chance to stop it. And if we keep mixing up your schedule, then we'll be able to keep you rested and able to pick him out. I am a soft-riding chair jock. I don't know the first thing about this sort of stuff, and I've got more important matters to worry about, like the Navsoft. Which Tolmany seems to be on top of, actually. Her reports so far are glowing. And with such knowledge of HE systems and the sort of tech that we use here, you're in a good position to see if something's going wrong. That makes sense, in fact. You're probably actually the best suited for this of all the crew. I don't like this. I want to say that up front. You watch as Kalia cocks her head back and barks a single, sharp laugh. Good. It's not just me. You're not going to just be spying for me, Rail. I expect you to still be a part of this crew. There's something odd about the wolf's tone, a tightness to his words that wasn't there before. You can see Kalia's eyes narrow ever so slightly. And... Zuberi sighs. And I'm going to need you to keep an eye on that crew, too. Wait, what? Oh, I see what you're getting at. I don't? What do you mean? The wolf shakes his head as he glances at Kalia's way. The Dreamer is a complex ship. If Anwell's going to do anything to harm her, he'd need the help of the crew. You trust them? All of them? I do, with my life. With all of our lives, as Kalia so colorfully put it earlier. But I know that even the most trustworthy person can be tricked, or coerced. I need eyes, and Kalia and I would be too obvious. What? And I wouldn't be? You certainly can't believe what you're hearing. I think that he's got the right idea for once, actually. You're a new face. You could mingle easily, getting good with different crew members without causing any fuss. No one's going to suspect you if you're reaching out for a friend. No one's gonna... Zuberi, I'm not a spy. And I don't want you spying on my crew. I don't want to think that any of them could put us in a bad spot. But Anwell's presence puts me in a difficult position, and until we can't figure out what's going on, I have to do the best that I can to protect my crew. You can understand where he's coming from. You can also see in Kalia's frown that the Vixen probably still thinks spacing Anwell is the most expedient solution to the problem. Just one problem. Just one? You shake your head. What if I'm the one that gets compromised? What if I'm the one he works to do whatever harm he's planning? Who's watching me? We are. The captain nods at Kalia's smile turns grim. Exactly. If you're alternating shifts, both Kalia and I can keep eyes on you. We get to check in and see how you're doing. Well, glad to know no one's above reproach. Zuberi smirks at the comment. He sees what you're getting at. It also lets you keep eyes on Kalia and I as well. Like you said, no one is above reproach. If the three of us watch each other, and you watch everyone, we're in the best position to see if anything goes terribly wrong. And you're okay with this? I have to be okay with this. I don't get a choice in the matter. Oba, options? When's the nearest that we can make a detour to drop off our new guest?
Right now, if you let me take him to the airlock.
Answer the damn question, Oba.
Snippy. All right. According to the nav charts, we'll be jumping into an uncharted system close to the fringe again in about 30 jumps time.
That should be a couple of days at least.
At that point, we'll be 1200 lights from a system designated K2R BAQ89. Records show that there is a mining station and system registered to the Mineral Dreams Corporation.
The captain nods slowly to himself. Those MD miners run some big barges and some bigger freights. He should be able to get wherever he is going from there. One of our pods could make the trip, right?
You want to give him a pod? Oh, how he jokes. The chuckles, the laughter, the frivolity.
Kalia pinches the bridge of her muzzle as her ears pin back. Even Zubari growls.
Pod range is estimated 1,500 lights. We've only tested them to a kilolight.
So if we want to make sure that he gets there safely, we'd be taking him there ourselves. Puts us out just a day's worth of work, hardly a problem, and better to keep our pods in case of emergency. He strokes at his chin as he nods to Kalia. We'll keep him aboard for the next few days then. Scrap the day's scans. Let everyone settle. Let you get back to sleep. I'll cope. You'll be irritable. I'll cope. The wolf lifts his paws and sighs. Oba, please let the crew know the duties are suspended today unless specifically tasked.
Full casual?
No, tell them to stay in uniform until third shift, just in case they're needed on duty for something.
Messages going out now.
Thanks. Kalia, can I trust you not to go arm yourself and stand vigil outside of Annual's door? No promises. On some level, you doubt that she's actually going to do that. On the other paw, you really don't doubt that she would. Rail, could you stay another moment, please? Guess that I'll go arm myself then. She begins to mutter and growl under her breath, shouldering roughly past Zuberi as she makes her way to the door. It doesn't give her any trouble today. When the door closes again, Zuberi sighs and sinks down into his command chair again. Sorry that you had to see that. I guess she needs a firmer paw. Glad it doesn't have to be mine. Still far from my best showing, least fun part of command, or parenting for that matter. I don't recommend it. Noted. He smiles as he looks up at you, but it doesn't last long. I'm really sorry about putting you in this position. I don't want to do it. You don't have to. You could easily confine him to quarters until we get to K2R whatever, that mining platform. I know, but there is a reason that I don't want to do that. You perk your ears as you step aside to Mrs. Sensor Console. You sit in the chair and turn to face Zuberi. The data logs you saw. They've got me worried. Not surprising. That there's pirates in the area isn't surprising, but that they'd be chasing a little A-tripper this far out past the fringe, right into the wild space? That's not sitting right. You can't help but nod along. It's not doing you any favors either. And I can't get over the fact that the cargo bay was empty. The pirates raided and hit an empty A-tripper that ran to wild space to escape them. And did it with the mil-spec weapons. Can't forget that part. Oh, how could I forget? He sighs and shakes his head. Don't even get me started on the ship being stolen. He doesn't read like a shipjack to me. Can't speak to piratical appearances, but the logs suggest that it all was pretty neat and tidy. They do. I just wonder if they got the details right. Care to share? Zuberi rubs at his chin as he leans back. I don't have anything. I wish I did, but I'm charting a blind course here. All I know is that this tour's turning out to be maybe a little more dangerous than I anticipated. I don't like that. That Martin napping in his room, figuring him out is the only chance that I have to know what I'm flying us all into. You nod slowly to yourself. What if we scrap the tour? Out of the question. Need the creds that bad, do you? No, you need it that bad. You blink in confusion. What exactly is the wolf driving at? Astrojan Guild. We get a full tour in with your soft, and if there's no trouble, they don't turn you over to Galsec, more than if you want you charged with murder. Your blood runs cold. You'd wonder how you avoided a cell the first time around. Guess the answer was barely. They didn't tell me that. Yeah, and I'm not supposed to tell you either. A frown touches your brow, and he could get in serious trouble with his own employers if word got out of that. Well, word got out. Why? Why tell me this now? Because the situation is different now, and I don't want you to get in some big idea in your head that abandoning this tour is going to go well for you in particular. Not that you've thought anything lately is the kind of thing to go well for you, if you're honest. I'm willing to delay some of our later jumps if it turns out that Anvil's more troublesome than needed. If there is a whiff of a threat to me and mine, he's gone. I'm not Kalia. I won't space him unless he pulls something. But you'll get him off the ship quick as anything if you smell trouble? On the thunder snap, as Samd said. Faster even. You nod to yourself and sigh. When you agreed to come aboard the ship, you didn't expect things to go this way. I don't like this. I just want to say it again. I don't either, Rail. Don't think of it as deceiving anyone. It's exactly deceiving them. I came clean about everything that I've done, and now I'm expected to hide details from them all, to watch them. It feels wrong. That's because it is. I know it is, and I don't like asking you to do it. I hope that it's unfounded and unnecessary, but I won't take the chances, not with their lives. And I'm sure that they'd appreciate that care, right up until they discover it's happening, sir. The wolf leans back in his chair, eyes closed for a moment as he takes a deep breath. If you won't do it, I won't make you. It's not in order, Rail. I mean, we kind of have to, I guess. You know the funny thing, though? I kind of feel like this is a way for the developers to say, like, hey, you know all these characters, and we might know that you might not like some of them, but this is our way of forcing you to talk to them now. Because if I had it my way, only Zuberi, Bramka, and Tolmeni and Oba would be the characters that I would ever just talk to. Everyone else is just like, oh, you're here too. Anyways. Whatever. You hate this. That goes without saying. Burn it all. You have said it. But what Zuberi said makes sense. Anwell could be a grave threat to the crew, and he could even use a crew, knowingly or not, in whatever he's been caught up in. Not knowing the situation doesn't make a decision easier to make, but it does make the final decision well reasoned. Damn it all. Fine. But if this gets out, you're going to have some very unhappy people on your paws. Zuberi sags with relief. Did he really expect you to go the other way on this? I know this isn't going to be easy on you, and I'm sorry. But I want you to know that it means a lot to me that you'll do this for me. For us all. Yeah, well, good. That doesn't make it right, though. I'm not trying to make it right. Some things you can't make right, no matter how you try. You know better than most how true those words are. So, what now? Now you leave the bridge. I bring us away from this A-tripper, park us close to the star, soak up some tax, and figure out our course. I thought that's what we were just doing. He chuckles quietly, but the sound has less joy in it than usual. Meant it more literally in this case. If there's more pirates out there, I want to make sure that we avoid as much trouble as possible. That sure makes sense. Guess I'll leave you to it? Yeah, and thanks again. No thanks needed. Don't worry about it. The captain nods and turns back to his console. He looks older than you've seen him in that brief moment. You leave the bridge a moment later, your head spinning with all that's just happened. The day's barely begun and it's already a mess. It warrants a moment to consider everything, but you're not sure that you really have time for that. Anvil. Pirates. Empty cargo holds. Stolen ships. Worried captains and militant seconds, and more unknown factors and elements than you can even count. And none of that even begins to touch on the task that you've agreed to do on Zuberi's behalf. Burn it all. What a mess. How did you even wind up in this position? You shake your head to clear it and rub at your eyes. You're only halfway through first shift, but this has already been more than you were expecting. And after your trip to Annabelle's vessel, you feel ready to crash right now. You know crashing isn't an option. Not if you're going to be hitting up first shift tomorrow, and right now the crew's probably wondering something awful about what's going on. Might be a good chance to get their initial impressions, if you're so inclined. That might give you a baseline for how they're going to react to things in the future. After all, what's a little sleep deprivation? And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, we decided to keep Annabelle, despite Kalia's protesting. I kind of feel that, obviously you kind of have to keep him on the ship because, you can't just throw him out into space, right? That would be bad. That would be so, so bad to just toss somebody out into space. Despite the fact that that they stole a ship. Despite the fact that that are some bad people that are after him. That would be terrible. Bad, bad, bad. Despite the fact that that Annabelle is lying about everything. And sure, you could make the case that, he's lying in order to protect himself or to hide what could potentially put you and the crew in danger. But still, it's very hard to trust this little Martin who I just want to pick up and throw away. To the person that said that, oh my god, I can't wait until you meet the new Martin and whatever, I don't see it. I did not see it. Also, finding out that Rail could potentially be put in jail if the assignment is stopped. I guess I kind of get it. It kind of seems like a convenient way to keep the story going. But yeah, I wouldn't agree with the captain on this. I would be with Kalia and Sam and Ms. But yeah, I would be agreeing with them about I don't want him anywhere on the ship. So yeah, just confine him to his quarters and, race to the nearest drop-off point where you can just get rid of him. Why? Because, again, the whole situation around how he got there and how you ended up with him is very suspicious. So yeah, I don't trust him. I don't want him on the ship. I want him off the ship as fast as possible. I don't think that the captain deciding to suss out how he got there and whatever is a good idea. It's just kind of like a recipe for disaster. And then putting Rail on assignment to basically babysit him, but then also spy on him and spy on the crew is a little weird too. Did kind of feel okay, so we kind of need you guys to get to know the crew a little bit more, so we kind of want you to do that. So how do we write it so that you have to do that? Just gonna stick to the people that I like. I don't care about the other ones. Yeah. Anyway, so what are your thoughts so far? Would you have decided to keep Annabelle longer? Would you have just gotten rid of him? Would you not have rescued him at all? Write down in the comments. And thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Void Dreamer yourself, you can do so by going down to the link in the description, which I have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download and play the game. If you would like to support the project, they do have a Patreon, I think. You can support them through there, get early access to builds of Void Dreamer, whatever else is available. Also, if you would like to support the channel, you can become a channel member, get early access to the videos as they're being scheduled. Again, this took forever to edit. My God. It was hell. It was hell to edit. And it's not even because it was a particularly complex story with a whole bunch of things that I needed to add back when I'm doing the editing. No, it's just, I did not like editing this. I don't know why. Actually, I think I know why. But yeah. So again, well, if you'd like to support the channel, become a channel member or support it through Ko-fi. Either one works. I know that some people in some parts of the world can't do the channel memberships, but you could do Ko-fi. It's just as little as $1. You don't get early access, but it does help support. But yeah, anyway, so I guess that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.